Hey everyone, it's me again, and welcome to Faith's Feels. If you're new to my channel, welcome to my little corner of the internet. My name's Faith Grenade, and I put makeup videos here on YouTube, and you should subscribe. Seriously, I'm getting thirsty from having to tell you that. You've stumbled across Faith's Feels, which is usually a first impression or a review, and today I have no foundation on, and you guys know what that means. It is time for a foundation first impression. I haven't done one of these in a minute, and I'm really excited. We're gonna be giving this guy another go. This is the Estee Lauder Double Wear Stay in Place makeup. I had heard so much stuff about this, and fun fact, a long time ago, I actually bought it, and tried it, and I didn't really like it so much. But I think part of it was because I had the wrong shade. I had gotten a shade that was way too light for me. I think we're closer to the right shade here, so we're going to be trying this again. This is Estee Lauder Double Wear Take 2. It says for all skin types, that's great. 15 hours staying power, looks fresh and flawless through heat, humidity, non-stop activity. Won't change color, smudge, or come off on clothes. Lightweight and so comfortable you won't believe it's long wear. Medium buildable coverage, won't clog pores, oil controlling, oil-free, fragrance-free, dermatologist and ophthalmologist tested. Keep out of eyes. Lots of lofty claims here. They're claiming a 15-hour wear, they're claiming lightweight, they're claiming full coverage, well, medium buildable coverage, which means it can be built to full, and I am looking for all of those things in a foundation. Will this be the replacement for my holy grail Atomic Cosmetics spackle? Only time will tell. Let's find out. So first I'm going to prime as I would with any foundation. I'm using the Becca First Light Priming Filter. Gonna shake it up. And I'm going to prime as I always do, because that's just what I would do with any foundation. I always use a primer. I'm looking forward to this foundation, but what I am not looking forward to, no pump. Really? I'm going to be using my Real Techniques Expert Face Brush. This is the new cut. Keep in mind, they had a pale orange one and a dark orange one. This is the new cut. This is the old cut. The old one is much denser. This one's a little bit more fluffy, has a little more movement, so I think we might have some luck with this. So I'm going to shake it up. Shake it up, shake it up, shake it up, shake it up. Yeah! And we're going to decant some of this onto the back of my hand, because there is no pump. Oh, and I forgot to mention, this is in the shade 1W2 Sand. And it might be a little too golden for me, but we'll see. So I'm going to, got my little thing here. It's medium texture. I would say it's a little bit on the thick side, but it does have some movement to it. I'm just going to have a light layer. I'm going to pat this on my face. Color might be a touch off, but it's not nearly as bad as the old one was. The old one was very, very light. It was much too pale for me. And I'm just gonna do this in very, very light layers, because I have heard that this foundation can get quite cakey quite fast. We don't want that, so far so good. They do have a lot of shades, I will say that. They have a lot of shades, great selection on that, good diversity between lightest of the light and deepest of the deep. I'm not going to, you know, mark points off of them for not having my exact shade, because I am a tough person to match foundation-wise. You can see, kind of as I'm going around here, the redness is being covered, so there is that. We're looking like, I would say, a solid high medium, possibly low full. Yeah, I forgot to mention that. For the record, I have combination skin that is sensitive and acne prone, and I am on a retinoid, which makes my skin just a little bit dehydrated. And now I'm going back over some of the areas that I need a little bit more coverage to, mostly on the side of my nose here where I've got a decent amount of redness going on, just to see how this builds on itself. So far so good. It's a little bit on the heavy looking side, but no worse than any other full coverage foundation that I've seen. So far it's sitting well around my fine lines. I've got some expression lines on my forehead here. It doesn't appear to be seeping into those right away. which the Bobbi Brown Skin Foundation Stick tends to do. Alright, I'm feeling way better about this foundation already. Finish is looking demi-matte, I would say. It's showing texture a little tiny bit, no more or less than any other full coverage foundation I've used. And full coverage foundations will do that. They'll cling to your baby hairs and all that good stuff. So it's showing a little bit of texture. It's not exactly like skin, but in this particular case, I'm not really expecting it to be skin, because it's a full coverage foundation. This is the kind of thing that I would use for special events or, like weddings, nights out. But everything is looking pretty good so far. I'm noticing a little bit of shine around my nose that I'd be tempted to powder, but I'm not going to do that yet. I'm going to see if this sets at all, because it feels like it's going to be setting. And it's a long wear foundation, so it probably will set. And it's feeling a little bit tacky right now, but it's not sinking into the fine lines under my eyes or anything like that. Close up here and show you. It is, I would say, full coverage at this point. You can see a little tiny touch of redness right here, but to be honest, that area gets red when I touch it, so it could just be the foundation brush like rubbing onto that area is causing it to turn red. We'll have to see in a couple of minutes when my natural redness dies down. And I'd be tempted to use concealer on top of this to see how that sits. But first impressions are good. First impressions are really good. I'm liking how this is looking. It is way better than I remember it being, that's for sure. I'm gonna take my Maybelline Instant Age Rewind, assuming it decides to show up to the party. There it is. And I'm gonna toss a little of this under my eyes. I say toss with my Real Techniques Expert Concealer Brush. It's like an Expert face brush, but smaller. And I'm gonna just spread this out from underneath the eyes. Stick it in my crevasses up here. Concealer's feeling a little bit stiffer, if that makes sense, than it normally does. It's kind of hard to explain. It feels like it's a concealer going on top of a full coverage foundation. That was interesting, because my pores were looking a little bit visible there for a hot second. Not sure what happened, but there is that. Trying to be careful, guys, I swear. So concealer is on. I'm feeling a little bit, less tired now. But everything is looking really good so far. It's looking a little bit on the dry side, like I was saying before, but that, that's kind of full coverage foundation. That's just the nature of the beast. If you want something that's full coverage, you're going to have a little bit of, dryness, a little bit of texture. I'm not expecting a miracle worker, you know what I mean? I'm contemplating whether or not to powder. I feel like I should. Just lightly powder. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to use the Lunatic Cosmetic Labs Mystifying Mattifying Pressed Powder with, what brush am I going to use for this? I'll go ahead and use my big Royal Langnickel Powder BMD 100 from the Moda collection. And I'm just going to lightly powder over my face. Just lightly. It's feeling a little bit itchy in some spots. I'm not really holding that against it too much because, my skin is sensitive. It will itch when something new goes on it, and this is new, so it could just be that. The powder doesn't seem like it set really a whole lot. You can see I have a hair right here, and it's kind of sticking to my skin because it's sticking to the foundation, so we'll just plots that off. It's looking, you can see it's looking a little textured right in here on the sides of the nose, but we'll see if setting spray fixes that. You guys know with any foundation I use, I put on powder and I put on setting spray. That's not to give them an advantage, it's just what I do. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the rest of my face makeup, and I will be back to let you guys know how everything sat. Hello guys, I am back and I am flawless. Okay, so what I did, you saw most of what the rest of my face looks like in the tutorial for this look, which is either already up or will be next week, but I'll give you a quick rundown. I bronzed my skin with the Lorac Tantalizer Baked Bronzer in Matte Tan. Love this stuff. Went a little ham on the bronzer, as we can see, which I definitely didn't need to do because this is a smidge dark. For blush, I went in with the Physicians Formula Butter Blush in the shade Vintage Rose. I adore this color, very pretty. And then for contour and highlight, I used the Smashbox Shape Matters palette. I used the contour up there, and then the shimmery highlight down here for my glow today. And then I went ahead and set everything with not one but two setting sprays, because don't stop till you get enough, am I right? So for the first setting spray, I used the Urban Decay All Nighter as kind of a fixing spray, just to settle all the powders down, get everything nice and settled. And then to form a barrier over the makeup, I used the Blue Marble Sealer Spray. After having set this, powders went over it pretty well. Like I said, I definitely didn't need as much bronzer as I put on because this is a smidgen dark on me. Oh god, it's so close. It's just a smidge bronze on me. You can see between where I blended on my neck and my chest here, it's a little bit dark. Just a little bit. In my forehead lines, it's not really sinking into my lines at all. I'm not seeing any foundation sinking into the lines. They are visible. They're probably always going to be, particularly with full coverage foundations, but they are not too terrible bad. You know, they don't look terrible. Everything went on very smoothly, and setting spray saved the day texture-wise. That really settled things down from a baby hair perspective, so I feel like out here got way better texture-wise when I used setting spray. Everything sort of settled down and got like sunken into the skin and looked a little bit more skin-like. Around the sides of my nose is still a little bit heavy looking, a little bit textured. You can see that right there. Not terrible, but it's there, and I thought I'd bring that up. I've been expressive, I've been moving my eyebrows up and down. Things don't feel too terribly heavy considering I am wearing a full coverage foundation. And they look really good in person. Everything looks really good and really seamless and smooth, and I'm loving the way my highlight's looking right now. Like, do you see this? All this glow going on? It's a little overwhelming. But anyway, things have been good. It is currently 1 o'clock on the dot. How about that? So I'm gonna call the check-in time 1 o'clock because that is when I finished my makeup. Everything is on. So now the timer starts and we see how long it takes this thing to fuck the hell up. So if you guys want to, you can keep on watching. I'm gonna take you through my day. It should be a pretty full-packed, eventful day. I'm hopefully going to be going to karaoke tonight, so I will be putting this foundation through its paces, and I'm anxious to see how this holds up. Hey guys, checking in with you. It's about 7 o'clock, a little after 7. So the foundation has been on for 6 hours, and for 6 hours it's been doing pretty good. I did blot with a blotting sheet because I was looking at teensy weensy bit shiny. I probably could have left it be, but I was bored, and I would have vlogged more, but I really haven't been doing a whole lot today. Right after I finished filming for the day, I ended up getting some crippling jaw pain, so I was chilling, trying to wait for that to subside. I've been having some neck and jaw issues lately, but what can you do? So let's do a little closey up here. I feel like this is oxidized a little bit. It's not a lot, but when I look at it compared to my neck in photos and things like that, you can't really tell on camera. But when I look in the mirror and when I look in photos, it does look a smidge bit darker, like at least half a shade darker than it did when I first put it on. But that being said, everything else has been going really well. It hasn't really settled into my fine lines too terrible much. It's done it a little bit in my forehead. I don't know if you can see that, but not really. And it hasn't settled into my smile line at all, which is great. I mean, this is one of the first foundations I've run into that doesn't do that. There was, the shade change. The shade is definitely dark. It's definitely dark, and I realized it's peach. It's a little bit too peachy for my skin. My skin is more of a true light kind of greenish yellow as opposed to an orangish yellow, which is what this is. So I don't know if getting 1W1 in the range would really change that. I feel like that would be too light, so it's kind of like I'm between shades. What else is new? But I might try mixing this with white foundation mixer and seeing if that helps, or mixing it with one of my more olive toned foundations and seeing if that helps too. But yeah, so far the only thing that really I would call a negative is the shade. As for the texture problems I was experiencing, even the stuff around my nose has actually dissipated quite a bit. This is one of those foundations that really seems to get better with age. So as it sort of sinks into your skin and melds with all your oils and everything, it starts to look more like skin as opposed to like this mask on your face, which is a good thing. I'm waiting for my husband to get home from work, and then I'm gonna be heading off to karaoke to hang out with some friends, and I'm gonna remember to bring the camera with me this time, because I always forget whenever I'm filming. I'm always forgetting to bring the camera, so I'm gonna bring the camera with me and take you guys along with me for my karaoke adventure this evening, and we will see how this continues to hold up.
Oh good, I'm not the only one viewing my own
Girl, I am filming right now.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I am so sorry.
Oh, what time is it? Sounds like somebody dropped something. Oh, we're at 10:04 right now. Foundation's still doing pretty good as far as I can see.
I have no idea what I'm looking for, so I'm just gonna take a word for it.
The singing, on the other hand,
Meanwhile, my wife thinks that my pores come out. Yeah.
I can't tell.
It looks a little crappy. Up close and like this.
Put a baseball cap on, you're fine.
Good evening, everyone. The lashes are off, the evening is through, and I'm dying to remove my makeup, but it is about midnight. It's about 12:15 in the morning, and this foundation looks the same as it did when I first set it. I'm not seeing any settling into lines, really. My smile line is clean, and it's normally not clean at all. No more than usual on the forehead. Yeah, color me impressed. I think I finally cracked the code on this one, and that is to definitely go in thin layers, building up gradually, because I think when I tried this foundation the first time, I just went too hard too fast. It was just as simple as that, and because of that it looked really heavy and really cakey and emphasized my pores and all that good stuff more than it's doing now. The only thing, this does emphasize texture a small bit. That doesn't really bother me that much, but I love the fact that I can touch it. I love the fact that, you know, my contour and highlight are still intact. Blush has faded a little bit, but that doesn't bother me. There's very little to no transfer at this point, which is crazy for me because that normally happens to me a lot. I only had to blot really once, and I was set for the night. The only thing is that this does emphasize texture a little bit. It's, you know, it's a full coverage foundation. It's not gonna look like, you know, a natural finish foundation. The only thing that really bugs me about it is the shade. It did oxidize a small bit, and in person anyway, in this lighting it's fine, but in person, in daylight, it was a touch too peachy and a touch too dark. So I'm thinking about picking up the shade lighter than this, 1W1, and seeing if that works out. Or, you know, maybe that'll be too light and I'll need to do some kind of mix of the two. I don't know. Jury's still out on this one, but so far, I'm really, really liking it. Anyway, come to think of it, I think I will wash this off and I will let you guys know how it removes, because I've been told that this foundation is a bitch to remove. Okay guys, so I tried out the Dermalogica Pre-Cleanse and the Dermalogica Special Cleansing Gel. Say special? Yeah, I can't see. Special Cleansing Gel. I got them when I got my SPF as free samples, very generous samples for me to try. So I think I cleaned my face very thoroughly, but makeup remover doesn't lie. So let's run right here, right here, and right here. Ooh, uh-oh. Looks like there's a little teeny weeny, eensy weensy, tiny bit of foundation left. So yeah, there's definitely foundation left. So this does not remove terribly easily. Then again, I also did not wash my neck, so there's definitely foundation left from that. But there was still foundation left on my face. And I've been, you know, I double cleansed and rubbed it in for a good, you know, 5-6 minutes before rinsing it off. So the fact that there's still foundation left behind, I kind of expected from a long wearing foundation. You know, they're going to be tough to remove, but that is kind of a downside for me because I like to have foundations that are easy to take off at the end of the night so I can get to bed. And I can already see over on this side of my face a little red bump that was not there before. So that could be a zit. It could just be a little subdermal bump. I hope you guys found this video helpful, informative, or entertaining. If you did, there's a button for that. Spank that like button in the butt, you know it deserves it. And if you want to see more from me, got a couple options now. You can click the videos on either side of my head to binge if you're bored or bummed out, or hey, you can hit that button that looks like my face and subscribe and become a member of the Faithful today. I put out new videos every Sunday. Thank you guys so much for watching and joining me today, and I will see you in the next video. Toodles!